The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining today's webinar. The title of today's webinar is, 7 reasons why you need Dynamics 365 for your organization. This is Brian Long with Agile IT. I'm the director of sales, and I use Dynamics 365 every day. Obviously, I use CRM. The prior name of the product before for quite a few years. So something that I believe in and use all the time with myself and my team. Also on the marketing side, we use it pretty extensively. So, what I hope to, provide you guys with today is a really good overview from one of our partners, Eric Anderson with Quanta CRM. They're really deep experts in this platform. They help us and a lot of our customers really use it effectively, and I felt our audience would really benefit from hearing from them on why this product can be a great addition to your organization and the different ways you can use it. So we kind of picked the top 7, but there's probably more than 7 that you can definitely benefit from. As I'm going through this, feel free to post any questions in the chat area. I'll moderate that, and we'll ask Eric and team of those questions. We might hold some of the answers till the end as he's going through it. And so for those that don't know Agile IT or haven't worked with us in the past, we are headquartered here in San Diego. We've migrated, now well over 1,000 customers to Office 365. Moved a lot of customers to Dynamics 365 or the prior version name. So we'll talk about that. And we're one of the leading partners for Microsoft. 15 gold competencies on the stack. Really have proven deep experts in all things Microsoft. So if we can help you guys in any way, definitely let us know. At the end of this, we're going to send out an email with the recording and a link to our Dynamics 365 page. Feel free to respond to that or reach out to me directly with any questions and or to Eric Anderson at Quanta CRM, and we'll be sure to help you. So with that, Eric, I'll just pass it over to you to jump right into this.
Thanks a lot, Brian. I really appreciate that. We've been working with Agile IT as kind of their CRM arm for a while now, and really appreciate that you were able to put together this webinar for us, and we've got a good turnout. I was on your site the other day just looking, and I saw a stat that said you migrated over 1 million mailboxes to the cloud, and yes, I have my pinky up to the side of my mouth because you've migrated 1 million mailboxes, but that's really impressive. So again, we're grateful to be working with Agile IT. Appreciate the webinar today. So Quanta CRM, who are we? What do we do? We've been doing CRM a long time. We have over 300 successful implementations. It's all we do. We eat, sleep, and breathe CRM. And we look at CRM as a tool that can be applied to your specific organizational needs so that you can be successful. And it's a very powerful tool. There's a lot of functionality. The deeper into the functionality you can get, the more return on investment you typically see from CRM. And real quickly, before we kind of jump into these 7 reasons, I just want to clarify some terminology here. So Dynamics CRM is a product that's been around for a long time. Has been around up through the end of October. So on October 31st, you could buy a Dynamics CRM license. On November 1st, Microsoft rebranded everything to Dynamics 365. And CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, but it can really do a lot more than that. It can do, service and portals and all sorts of workflows, and you can create any types of entities or business rules inside of CRM. So I think one of the reasons Microsoft rebranded it is because CRM is just a little, maybe too small scale of a box for what CRM can really do. So Dynamics 365 is a little bit of a larger umbrella. It still has the CRM components, but it also has some things like project service automation, field services, even some ERP stuff like financials and operations. For today's call, we're focused on CRM. We're focused on the sales and the service, and we might touch a little bit on marketing. So just want to make that clear. I am probably going to slip back and forth into 365 CRM. I've been calling it Dynamics CRM for a long time now, so please forgive me for that. But let's talk a little bit about the 7 reasons for CRM. Central database. So basically, this is the #1 initial reason why people move to CRM is they just can't see what's going on with their organization. So they need visibility into accounts and contacts and opportunities. Campaigns, so we can create marketing campaigns within CRM with different waves. Maybe we want to start out with an email blast to a specific marketing list, and then we want to follow that up the next week with phone calls, and we can assign those phone calls to the sales reps. Business intelligence, so there's a lot of dashboards and reports within CRM. There's also Power BI, which is an external tool that can feed from CRM. Facilitate communications. I like to think of this as more triggering communications. So we want to track and we want to record activities and communications with our contacts and accounts, but if we have a system that really helps us proactively reach out rather than reacting to a need when it may be too late, that's extremely valuable. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Tracking sales opportunities, that's typically what people think of when they think of a CRM system is that opportunity pipeline. How are we going to drive through that sales process and know where our opportunities are and try to project revenue from that. Analyze data. There's a million ways to kind of slice and dice the data. The data can be exposed in list views and forums. You can export the data to Excel. You can use other tools like Power BI. Even a desktop version of Excel can do a Power Query from CRM. So there's a lot of ways to analyze the data. It's all available to you. And enable responsive customer service. Customer service, there's kind of, I like to think of light customer service, which is just following up with customers, right? We need to make sure we're proactive and we're reaching out to them and calling customers. That's all kind of built into the standard activities, account management, contact management. But then some organizations want to get deeper. They actually have a customer service department where there's issues or support, and people are going to call in and create tickets and incidents. And so CRM also has that. So you can have cases and kind of a case business process flow similar to an opportunity flow, but we're focused on a case entity. And you can also have different queues and knowledge base articles and things like that. So back to what is CRM, 2 really key components of CRM. The ultimate goal is to make your business more efficient and more profitable. And there's 2 kind of key ways in which it does this. One is visibility. So with CRM, you can see what everybody's working on. You can find out information about your customers and contacts and opportunities and when was the last activity, what stage is this opportunity in. And so just visibility into what's happening with your organization. That's initially what people start with, right? It's just, I need to be able to see this information. The other big thing it can do is it can automate and streamline operations. And we like to think of it as a little personal assistant sitting on your shoulder, whispering in your ear saying, hey, Eric, did you remember to follow up with this customer? Because it's been 2 months since I see any activity with this customer. Or John, you sent this opportunity out last week. It's been 6 days. Don't you think you should follow up? So CRM, you can create workflows that would just say, okay, let's create a task for John that tells him to follow up on this opportunity because it's met a certain criteria. Or it could automatically send out an email to that primary contact on the opportunity. So just a way to make sure that things aren't slipping through the cracks. And there's kind of 3 main areas or modules under CRM. We like to refer to those as finding customers, getting customers, and keeping customers. Finding business, this ties into marketing automation, so we can create marketing lists, we can create marketing campaigns, and really try to see how successful those campaigns were. And that's finding business. Once we have a lead, we want to close that lead. We want to turn it into an opportunity, we want to work through it, and we want to win the opportunity. And so that's getting customers. And again, that's more of the sales automation, the pipeline, what a lot of people envision when they think of a CRM system. And then keeping customers gets back to customer service and incident tracking, case management, knowledge base articles. We can create customer portals so that they can do some self-service and try to find the resolution themselves. But then if they can't, they create a case on the portal. The case feeds into CRM. So there's a lot of things we can do on that service side as well. And CRM can do a lot more than that. So we'll focus a little bit on dashboards at the beginning of the demo. Outlook integration obviously is a big component, and I'll show how that works. Document library, there's integration with SharePoint, customer portal. Down at the bottom right, you see project service automation, field service. Those are other components of Dynamics 365. The nice thing about those is they sit on the same CRM database platform. So you can have your salespeople in CRM, you have all your contacts, all your accounts, and then project service automation, field service are using those same records for their needs as well. Okay, so a couple of differentiators. CRM, what's different about Dynamics 365 versus other CRM competitors? It's extremely easy to use. The navigation, I hope to be able to display that it's just easy to move around, add records, find records. There's unlimited flexibility. You can configure and customize to your needs. There are customers with 2 users on Dynamics CRM, and there's some organizations that have tens of thousands of users on Dynamics CRM. What that tells you is that it's easy and it's simple enough for a very small organization to adopt, but it's scalable and flexible enough to grow with your company and do anything that you want it to do. It really has an amazing value. Dynamics CRM is definitely one of the top 2 CRMs out there, and it has all the benefits of any other CRM at a lower price point. And on top of that, it has better integration with Microsoft platforms. So other CRM systems, what they're doing is they're doing more of a bolt-on for Outlook. They're add-ons, and they typically cost additional, per user per month pricing. With Dynamics CRM, the Outlook integration is tighter and better than any other CRM, and it's just part of your CRM license pricing. There's no additional costs there. So Microsoft is really building these things together. Since they own Outlook, they own CRM. They're building them in conjunction, which is a really nice competitive advantage. So a few questions to ask. We're almost done here, and we'll hop into the presentation. But do I need CRM? Well, are you happy with your current process for tracking sales? Do you have insight and visibility into what your sales team is doing? Are you doing a good job of tracking leads and sales opportunities? I like to think of leads and opportunities as like inventory. You're not going to have a lot of inventory and valuable inventory without some type of mechanism for tracking that inventory, because it's a valuable asset. You want to know what's coming in, what's going out, is there any shrinkage, where did it go? Think of the same thing with leads and opportunities. Those are extremely valuable assets to an organization to have opportunities, and I want to know what's going on with that opportunity. So I just want to make sure that we're tracking that and I understand what's happening. Are you efficiently tracking customer service issues? So, with a customer service system with cases and knowledge base articles, you can resolve things quicker. You can automatically find cases that are similar to your case. You can look up knowledge base articles and just shoot off an email to your customer with that. Or again, if you have a self-service system set up, they can log into the portal and accomplish some of that themselves. And then, do you need to be more on top of your game due to competitive pressures? CRM is a competitive advantage. So, if you're competing against another organization and they have a nice, robust CRM system and you don't, you're at a competitive disadvantage. So, just that's one way to think about it. And this is just more questions about pain points. Common pain points. I'm frustrated with my processes and efficiency. This second one is a big one that we get all the time. The customer information is stored in multiple spreadsheets, multiple files, Outlook. We just don't know where to get the data. We could spend hours looking for information, and that kind of goes back to, are your salespeople having to spend a couple hours a week creating a report because the information isn't readily available and already sitting in a dashboard? So, and that's right below there, salespeople spending too much time reporting. you're not sure why you're winning or losing deals, and you really want to understand that a little bit better. By tracking an opportunity thoroughly, when you get to the end of an opportunity, there's kind of a win or lost stage, and you have to enter some information, and that can be helpful for future deals. A lot of times we'll just see that a company's growing pretty fast, and they thought everything was under control, and now they're growing, and they realize, hey, we need a system to manage this. It's a little bit out of control. And then if you're having issues with customer service consistency, it's taking too long to resolve problems, you're doing the same thing over and over again, but you're spending 20 minutes on the same issue where you should be spending 2 minutes because you resolved the same issue last week. You just don't realize it because the information isn't readily available. Okay, that's it for the slideshow. Hopefully that wasn't too painful. We're going to move over. I'm going to try to switch my screen here because I've got my demo here over on this other screen. Let me just see if I can change to my main monitor here. Okay, I think this is where we want to be, so sorry about that. The PowerPoint was acting a little bit funny with my duplicate monitors. So, okay, so this is Dynamics 365, and there's a lot of different ways to access this information. Basically, you can log in here with Internet Explorer, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, iOS, Android. So there's apps for iOS, Android, and Windows for tablets and phones. One of Microsoft's big pushes is to be device agnostic. They basically want users to be able to get on whatever device they use and access CRM and be able to do whatever they want. I like to start out with dashboards when I'm in here because the dashboard is typically what shows up first for someone logging in CRM, and it's focused on what's important to that individual. Think of it as a car dashboard. You know, where am I going? How fast am I going? Maybe I have some GPS to tell me where I'm going. Is my engine overheating? Things like that. Just I want something in front of me that shows me what I need to be doing. And a lot of the dashboards will have some list views incorporated into the dashboards, and list views, you know, a lot of business efficiency books talk about starting the day with a list, which just helps you kind of work through items and know what you need to accomplish. If I drop into the dashboards here, you'll see there's a bunch of system dashboards out of the box. I can take any of these and I can save them off, and then I can modify them. So this sales executive dashboard, I took one of these dashboards, did a save as, I opened it up in edit mode, and I modified some of these components. It's very, very easy to do that. But the idea would be that this is a dashboard that's targeted more towards a sales executive or a manager that wants to see a high-level bird's eye view of what's going on with the organization. So here you can see my sales pipeline, top customers, cases, and activities. And what's important here is I'm looking at all open opportunities, all cases, all activities. And so I'm the sales manager, and I can see everything, right? I want to be able to understand what's going on. Now, for a salesperson that's more focused on their particular activities and leads and opportunities, there's a sales activity dashboard. And so their default dashboard when they log in, actually that's not the one I want the sales dashboard. It might look like this, which is going to be similar but different in that it's showing my activities, my open opportunities, my open leads, my pipeline. And so this is targeted towards a specific salesperson, and they can kind of get to work and say, here's what I need to be working on. So a lot of different dashboards. If I'm customer service rep, there's a customer service rep dashboard where I can look at cases, and I'm not as concerned about opportunities. I'm looking at cases by priority and a case mix and resolution and goals. What makes these dashboards really powerful, though, is that they're very interactive. You can drill down into these dashboards. So if I log in and I'm the sales manager and I'm looking at all my open opportunities here, I may want to pop this out and get a little bit deeper. So we'll go ahead and just pop this window out. And what it's going to do here is it's going to put the graphical representation on the right, and it's going to have the records that make up this chart or pipeline on the left. And so I can drill into any of these records or customers, but I can also do a little bit more. So if I come over to the sales pipeline and I say, well, let's take a look at what's in the develop stage. I click on develop, it automatically filters these opportunities on the left. And then I can even take this another step deeper. So if I wanted to say, well, I'm in the develop stage, let's look at the probability inside of this develop stage. I select the probability field, click on OK. And now I have a bar chart. I've already filtered into the develop stage. Now I have 3 different probability numbers inside of that, different opportunities that are tied to these probabilities. So if I want to see, well, let's just look at what's in the 50% probability. Again, it automatically filters the record on the left. So I have one opportunity that's sitting in this 50% probability. So from here, I can just open it up, right? I can just double click on it and say, okay, let's start working on this opportunity, or maybe let's take a closer look. And so we can start, the point is we can start with a very bird's eye, high level view, drill down a little bit deeper until we're on a specific record. And now I'm on the opportunity record. So next thing I want to just talk about briefly is navigation. I mentioned earlier it's pretty easy to use, and it really is. So if right now I'm kind of tied into the sales module, I can hit this drop down here, sales, service, marketing, settings. If I go over to service, I'm going to see cases and articles and contracts and things like that. Under sales, I have accounts, opportunities, quotes, orders. So the idea is that I can, within about 1 or 2 clicks, I can get to anything I want to get to. So if I want to go look at accounts, click on accounts, it brings up a list view of accounts. If I want to go look at opportunities, click on opportunities, it brings up a list view of opportunities. And if I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but I want to search, do more of a global search with maybe a component of an account name, there's a few things up at the top here that make navigation and searching very easy as well. So if I click on Start Search, I could type in Alpine, and that's going to go look at records that begin with Alpine. There's an account, there's contacts that are tied to Alpine Ski House, and then there's an opportunity tied to that. And maybe I don't know the beginning of the name. Maybe I know it has something to do with ski, so I can use an asterisk, a wildcard, and just type in ski. It does the same search, and it finds pretty much the same information because I have ski house, ski house, ski house, ski house. So a lot of different ways to search. You're able to, at a global level, you can decide which records or entities you want to search through. So if you don't want to look at leads with this global search, or maybe you don't want to look at contacts for some reason, you don't have to. You can design it so you're only searching the records you want to view. There's also a filter option here, so I can filter maybe by just account, and then it just says, oh, here's the accounts. So very easy to find stuff. There's also a recently viewed records button up here, which is really nice. So let's say 30, 45 minutes ago I was working on something, I can't remember the exact name, and oh yeah, I was working on this case, item defective on delivery sample, and I can just pull it back up. And so that the recently viewed items is helpful. This column gives us records that were recently viewed. This column gives us views. So these are the list views. So like active accounts or active contacts pulls up the recent list view that I was looking at. And then there's also quick add functionality. So this is different than creating a whole new record. It creates kind of a piece of a record. So if I do a quick add for account, you can see it's not going to pull up the full account form. It's going to pull up some basic information, just what I want to record to be able to create the account. And you can decide which of these fields are required. So on this one, for instance, account name is required, nothing else is required. So I could type in an account name, say save, and it creates the account. Once I do that, it'll pop another little window that says, do you want to view the full record? So do you want to pull up the full record on that? So this is a nice little screen. There's quick adds for accounts and for cases and categories and all of that. And so let's actually open up, let me just see what's going on here. So let's open up a specific account here, and we'll kind of take a deeper look at accounts. And so I'm going to go back to, actually I'll go into recently viewed items, and I think I've had this Alpine ski house opened up here. So this is the account form, and I have some summary information over here on the left. I have activities down the middle. I have contact information, and these little subgrids over here are different types of entities that are related to the account. So I have contacts that are related to the account, and recent cases and recent opportunities, and so I have a lot of information here. And what's great about these forms are pretty consistent across across entities. So I have an account entity, I have a contact entity, I have an opportunity entity, and these forms will be laid out very similarly across those different entities where I have account information, activities, etc. What's really great about this is I can open up the form, and there's a very easy design view to modify these forms. Of course, I'd want to make sure that I have, you know, a system administrator has rights to this. We don't want every user to be able to open up a form. But the idea here is this is a WYSIWYG, kind of a what you see is what you get designer. If I look over here, I can see account information. I have account name, phone, fax, account name, phone, fax, website. If I want to delete a field, I just highlight it and remove it. If I want to add another field, I just drag it over and drop it where I want it to go. You can see the little red line. You can also even add fields on the fly into the account entity here. And so there's a lot you can do with this stuff. If I go down to the subgrids, like recent opportunities, we saw that was one of the subgrids on the accounts. Well, I can configure which view I want to use for that subgrid. So right now it's looking at recent opportunities. Maybe I want to change that to my open opportunities or all open opportunities. So very flexible. You know, again, a lot you can do with this designing of the accounts to make it just as efficient and you know, make it efficient for your organization. So you're seeing what you want to see. A couple of other things on the account. One is SharePoint. So there's a very simple, easy to configure SharePoint integration. If you have a SharePoint site and you have Dynamics CRM online, it takes less than 5 minutes to just say, oh, here's where we want to send our documents. And so on this particular account, I can drop in and go to Documents. And right now I'm still in CRM, and it's showing me the documents that are tied to this account. But all these documents are really stored inside of SharePoint, you can see. So it shows me the path. So this is really powerful, just the ability to save a lot of information, a lot of documents into SharePoint. If I want to open the location, the actual SharePoint location, I can drop in here and go to Documents on Default Site. And this is rerouting me to SharePoint. So now I'm in SharePoint, I can see those same documents. Typically, I wouldn't need to do that because I have everything inside of CRM over here. I can check documents out, I can edit documents, I can do a lot from right here. I can open up the documents, add new documents, but there are more things that I can do within SharePoint. Like for instance, if I wanted some type of a signature approval process on a document, I could set up a workflow in SharePoint that once a quote is here, it gets emailed to the owner on the customer side of the quote, and then they can determine whether they want to sign it or not. So this is pretty powerful, this integration with SharePoint. I just like to bring that up quickly without getting too technical.
Yeah.
Another
hey,
pretty
Eric.
cool, yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I just want to remind everybody, if you do have any questions as we're going through this demonstration, Feel free to put those into the chat window. We'll come back to the demo and showcase any of those questions that you have as we're going through it. Just want to remind everybody that that's available.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. I think we forgot to mention that. We're gonna deal with questions hopefully in about 20 minutes here. So we should have 10 minutes left over for questions. So if you put them in the chat window, we can monitor those. So back to the accounts, we kind of looked at SharePoint. There's another cool feature under accounts, and I'm going to just open up, let's see, what do I want to open up? Snowbird. I like to ski. So Snowbird is a nice ski resort. And if you look over here at this Insights, this is a program called Inside View that Microsoft acquired a few years ago, and then they just built it into CRM. So again, there's no additional cost for this, just part of the CRM license. But what this allows you to do is several things. First of all, and I'll kind of demonstrate this a little bit later when we create a lead from scratch, but if I type in an organization name, an account name, it will try to find them, and if I say, oh yeah, that's the right one, it can update the account information. So without me having to go through and enter the phone and the address and all of that, it can update that. So that's pretty simple. What's really powerful, and they call it Inside View, is because you can get an inside view into that organization. So as a salesperson or a customer management account manager, you have some talking points with that account. So here's some insights into Snowbird. I can do some research around the industry, hotels, motels, kind of leisure, sports, and recreation. I can find contacts that are related to Snowbird. And so there's this is a powerful tool just to give you a little edge for your sales team to be able to communicate with your customers. And we'll talk just a little bit about activities. I want to hop into the email integration here. So if I go back to activities here, I have the 4 standard activities. We've got phone calls, tasks, emails, and appointments. And you can add all of these from CRM. One nice thing is that activity records roll up. So if I put an activity record on an opportunity that's tied to Alpine Ski House, it will roll up and show under the account activities as well, which is nice. So I can filter these activities based on which type of activities I want to see. I can sort ascending, descending. I could pop these out into a kind of a separate activity list view just tied to Alpine Ski House. I can easily add activities like phone calls, tasks. I just click, type in some text. And if there's a due date or if it's just complete right now, then I just say okay, and that's a completed phone call activity. So very easy to record this information. One thing I do like to show is the email integration, because you can do emails out of CRM, and that's fine. I can create an email from here. I could even insert some type of an email template. You can see here I can insert a template or an article. A template's more like a mail merge, where it's going to merge some fields in and create some text, where an article might be a knowledge base article that I just want to insert. So we can do that from inside of CRM, but I mean, realistically, most people work in Outlook, and so there's extremely robust functionality from inside of Outlook. I'm going to pull over an email here. And let's say I'm emailing this contact that's quantacrm@gmail.com. Well, when I look over here under my Dynamics 365 add-in, you can see, oh yeah, Quanta CRM test, they're a contact, they're inside of your organization. They're also tied as the primary contact to this opportunity. And I have this fantastic opportunity, $1 million, really excited about that. So if I just want to tag this email that I'm sending to Quanta CRM, to that opportunity, I just basically select that and it tags it. So now you can see it's green, it's been tagged to the opportunity. A lot of other things I could do. If I want to open up the opportunity, I could just click on that link. If I want to open up the contact record, and this will actually open up Dynamics CRM Online and open up that view. I could add a phone call. So if I said, well, I just talked to them, so I am following up with an email, but I just had a phone conversation. So let's enter a little phone call in here, and I'm not going to say it's due. I'm just going to put a subject in here, spoke with Quanta, and the call was to whoever it was. So I can easily add records as well, which is nice. I'm just going to cancel out of that. Another cool thing you could do is you can just insert articles. So if I have created knowledge base articles, and this ties more into that customer service area, but let's say they called me up and they say, hey, I'm having this printer issue. I'm just going to put printer issue. And let's say they're having a problem with the dot matrix printer. And so I want to do a little search. I'm going to go to articles, and I can have different subjects, so they're kind of tiered. So then I drill down, and oh, look, there's an article that's inside of CRM on how to fix a dot matrix printer. So I can just highlight that and then add it to the email, and it just inserts the text, and I even have a picture in this article, so I can modify that. But this tells us very specifically how to fix a dot matrix printer. We're going to destroy the printer, and kicking or a bat, some good ways to do that. So just a lot of interaction with Dynamics CRM over here, and this is new with Dynamics 365. So this is 2-3 months old. It just keeps getting better and better, the Outlook integration. So that's kind of scratching the surface. There's a lot more you can do with this, but I just like to point that out when we're talking about activities. So when I send that email off, if it's tagged to an opportunity or a case or whatever it might be, it flows right back into the activities under that particular record. Okay, I do want to talk just real briefly about these list views. These list views, just like when we looked at dashboards, you have a bunch of system list views out of the box. You can take any of these list views and you can modify them, add columns, change the filters, change the way the data is coming in. And to do that, you use this advanced find tool. So I open up the advanced find tool. It realizes that currently I'm on this active accounts view. And what I can do is just do a save as, call it something new, active accounts. I'll just give it a date here, 02/16. Save it. Now, a couple of things I can do. One is I could change the query. If I want to put a filter on which accounts are flowing into this view, you can see here's all the fields. I could put filters on these fields. There's even related fields, so it knows that the account might be related to a case or an opportunity. And so it's very flexible what I can do as far as building the query that tells the list view what records we want to pull in. And again, I don't want to get too technical, but also you can just go and say, I want to add some columns to this view. So I go into Edit Columns, and I'm going to say Add Columns, and I have all of the fields that are tied to the account. I have also other fields that are related, and so I can pretty much add whatever fields I want to this list view. And then I can organize them, maybe move fields over and say, okay, I can preview the results before I actually save it. So I could come over here and preview that and say, well, oh, we really don't have anything in the SLA column. I guess we don't need that. But I like the status. Some of these might be active, etc. And then I would just save that as a view. So that's a flexible tool. You can also use the advanced find to kind of update records. So a lot of times if a salesperson leaves, what you can do is you can go look at all the accounts that are tied to that salesperson and just assign all of those to a new salesperson. So really, really powerful tool. Okay, I want to go back to kind of a lead through an opportunity flow, just so you can get a sense of how that would work. So I'm going to create a new lead here. Some of our customers would import leads coming from a website. They may even have a form on their website where it automatically creates a lead. In this case, I'm going to just manually enter a new lead here. So we're just going to put in the topic is, I'm going to call it Larry Z, and I'm going to say Microsoft because he's with Microsoft. So it comes over, it wants his name. I'm just going to do Larry Z. You can see again, anything with a red asterisk, that's a required field. So on this lead, we don't need to gather a lot of information because the lead record is totally different from the opportunity. We realize it's very preliminary. We haven't really qualified it yet. So just give me the information you have. So I have Larry Z. Microsoft is the lead name. Here's his name. I can scroll down. It says a recommended field is company. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Microsoft Corporation, and we'll try to type that right this time. And that's all I need to create a lead. So from here, I could say, okay, let's save it. Once it's saved, you see there's some other things that pop up here. I can qualify the lead at this point, and there's a few things that happen when I qualify a lead. Actually, 3 things that happen. So first of all, it's going to take the lead, and it's going to change the lead into an opportunity, and it's going to open up all these other stages. So it'll take a lead, move it to an opportunity, then I can work through the opportunity, develop, propose, close. It will also take the name, and it will create a contact for that name. So right now, this is just a name field on a lead. It hasn't created a contact. Same thing with the company. This is just the company field on the lead. It has not yet created an account. It will do that once I qualify the lead. So you can notice off to the side, Insights has started working and saying, hey, is this Microsoft Corp Boise office? I'm going to wait till we move over to the opportunity to kind of work on the inside view part of this. But with a lead, we can still do, tie activities to a lead, make phone calls, gather more information. So there's a lot we can do while it's still in the lead status. But let's say we want to qualify this lead. So I'm going to go ahead and click on qualify. It's going to take a second here because, again, it's doing a few things. It's transferring the lead to an opportunity. It's created a contact called Larry Z, and it's created an account called Microsoft Corp. So now I'm on an opportunity. Before I kind of keep working through the opportunity, I'm going to go open up this Microsoft Corp, and we're going to just look at what inside view kind of does on the fly. So right now it's saying Microsoft Corp Boise office. I don't want that particular company. What I'm looking for is the big one, Microsoft Corporation, Washington. That sounds right. So I can just say, no, that's not right. What else do you have? And it goes through and gives me some suggestions. So it's a pretty powerful tool, inside view. So I'm going to go ahead and select Microsoft Corporation. And you can see, oh yeah, that looks like the one. And now what I want to do is I want to update the account information from inside view to my data over here, so I don't have to manually enter all that. So we click on this little account sync. This will just take a second. It pops up. It says, okay, do you want to sync everything that we're finding over here over to the account information? So I can pick and choose different fields here. I'm just going to say, yeah, let's update the whole account. So this takes a second, feeds the information into the account, and it'll refresh here for me. And now I have Microsoft Corporation, I have the address, the phone number, a bunch of information about them. And then again, I can open up this Insights and kind of poke around and look at it. Back to the opportunity. So if I scroll down here, here's that subgrid with opportunities tied to Microsoft Corporation. So we'll hop back over to the opportunity. Just talk briefly about this business process flow. What you're seeing below this gray line is the standard form. So that's where I have information, activities. I have subgrids with sales teams and stakeholders. Again, I could open up that form and modify those fields, hide fields I don't want, add fields I do want. What's above this gray line is a business process flow. So you can see qualify, develop, propose, close. And I can have different fields that are tied to each of these stages. And just like it's very easy to modify this form, it's very easy to modify these business process flows. So if I hop up here and just say, let's edit the process, we can really fine-tune this for our organizational needs and our processes. So I have a lead, I have specific fields on the lead. Maybe I want to take that existing account field and say, make that a required field. And what that will do is it'll make me fill out that field before I can move the stage forward from lead to opportunity. I can remove fields if I don't really care about identifying competitors, for instance. I can highlight that field and just say, let's delete it. And so very easy to modify these things. If I wanted to add a new stage in the middle, I could just create a stage, add a stage there, and go from 4 stages to 5 stages. And you can have conditional stages, and you can have workflows that kick off in here. So this can get pretty sophisticated, but if you just want to kind of decide which fields and which stages you want, it's very easy to configure this. And so the whole idea is that I want this to drive my sales process so that I'm going to close as many opportunities as possible. I'm going to collect the right information. I'm going to work through these stages. We'll have visibility to see where the opportunities are, and all of that's very important to me. So on an opportunity, you may at some point want to say, okay, let's put some products on the opportunity. So Dynamics CRM has a whole separate product table with price lists, and so I can come down here and say, let's add, first of all, I need a price list, and we'll grab a price list, and then we can add products to this opportunity. So let's just grab something like that. I can change the quantity. There's different options. If I want to be able to change the unit price, I can do that as well. So I could add more existing products or have write-in products. And the idea is once I kind of have this built out, I may say, okay, well now it's time to create a quote, and I actually want to create a quote and maybe present that quote to the prospect. So if I add a quote record, what it's going to do is it's going to pull everything that's in the opportunity over to the quote, including the line detail. And so I just clicked on add a quote, and you can see it's brought over this, it's brought over this. So it's pretty much filled out this quote, and I could add some additional information like the bill to address, ship to address, shipping terms, things like that. So after I've modified the quote, there's a way to just export a quote template. This is basically what they're using now are Word templates. So I can go into Quote CRM, Word template, and this is just something I really design inside of Word. I can put my logo on here, I can put the text I want, I can insert the fields from Dynamics CRM. This is a very, very simple version of a quote, but you know, the sky's the limit because we're just working inside of a Word document template. Once you kind of modify that, you can upload it back to CRM and have the Word document template the way you want it. So hopefully that gives you kind of a lead through opportunity through quote, process view. Real quick, I want to talk about service, and I'm hoping, let's just see if this works. This is newer. This is brand new with Dynamics 365, and you can see it's kind of a different interface. I think what I'm going to do is move this over to Internet Explorer because it tends to work a little bit better there. I think they're still working out some kinks with other browsers. So let me see if I can pop this open here in Internet Explorer. And this new interactive service hub is very, it's more app-like than the old customer service. So it has a very app look and feel and design. I'm not sure why that's not working. Huh. Try that one more time. Yeah, if that won't open up, I'm going to let this spin for a minute, and we'll move on. But there, okay. So this is running. It might just take a minute. So I'm going to move on to marketing for a second, and I'll let this kind of load here. So under marketing, we have marketing lists. You can create static or dynamic lists. A static list means you're going to manually add the records to the list and remove them from the list if you no longer want them there. And the different list types are contacts, leads, and accounts. Most marketing list people are typically using contacts. A dynamic list would be, you build a query. You could say, oh, the contact state is Washington, and if the contact state is in Washington, it's in our Washington marketing list. And so based on adding new contacts or changing the state of a contact, it would dynamically be added or removed from the list. So that's marketing lists. And then you can create campaigns and work through campaigns like we mentioned earlier. You can have different waves. I could start out with an email campaign and then have some phone calls created to make sure we're following up the next week. People that are really going to be using marketing email campaigns, a little bit deeper, and then they want analytics around that, we'll typically use another tool. There's a great tool called Click Dimensions that sits inside of Dynamics CRM as a solution. And the reason people use another tool is if you use marketing lists and email campaigns out of Dynamics CRM, it works, but it does send directly from your server. And if you're sending hundreds of emails a day or a week, you run the risk of blackmailing, having your server blacklisted, not blackmailing, but having it blacklisted. When you use a tool like Click Dimensions or other tools like MailChimp or something, they're making sure that the servers they send the emails from won't be blacklisted. So there is a lot you can do from here. If your plan is to send hundreds or thousands of emails, you want to look at the options there. So I'll just kind of point that out. Back to, this thing's open now, but let me see if I can get over here. So this is the new customer service interactive service hub, and what's pretty cool about this, again, it's a very app-like. So I scroll over different sections, I can scroll up and down, scroll up and down. I think they're trying to kind of merge the online functionality with the app functionality, so it gets closer and closer together. But I can easily filter on these things. So if I said, oh, let's look at incident type as maintenance, click on maintenance, you can see it's changed. It's put a little filter up here, and it's filtered the cases on the left. If I wanted to filter it again, maybe just go low priority. Now I have two filters. It's filtered the records on the left. So this is looking at cases. And again, if I just want to open up an active case and work on it, this is what the case looks like in this new interactive service hub. It's a little bit different than the business process flow that we saw with opportunities. I have identify, research, resolve. Again, more of an app-like. I can scroll over these different areas. I could switch from recent cases to maybe knowledge base articles that might be related. If I find one that is related, I could link the article to the case. I could link and email the knowledge base content. So a lot of things we can do with this. We can route the case, we could resolve the case, and back under service, you'll see knowledge base articles, queues, cases. Pretty new, sophisticated stuff, and I'm kind of excited to see the way this is going, because they've really put a lot of development into this interactive service hub. And real quick, let me just fire this up. I know we're almost out of time here. And we want to have some time for questions. So let me see how quickly this this pops up. Okay, so we say don't download that. So I just want to talk a little bit about the apps, mobile apps. This is an app view of Dynamics CRM, and I have a Windows 10 machine, so the way it works for a Windows 10 tablet is it's the same app. But again, you have this for Android, iOS, Windows, phones, tablets. This is what the app looks like. I have these different components. Right now I'm on a sales dashboard, so I can scroll through my activities, my open leads, my open opportunities, and kind of see everything together. If I want to click on one of these to kind of pop it out, like my open opportunities, I'll click that, pop it out. I can see the different sales pipelines, just like from the web version. I can drill down into a specific phase. I can see the opportunities that are tied to that, and then I could actually open up that opportunity. And once I'm on this opportunity, it looks a little bit different. I'm going to touch my screen here because I have a touch screen. I can slide stuff back and forth. I can get into a specific area and kind of go up and down. This is my stages right here. So I have my develop stage. I can move forward and backward, to the proposed stage and move back and complete information here as I'm working through the stages. So very intuitive, interactive apps. It makes things pretty easy to do things. And if I want to click on a phone number and make a call, I'm going to go back real quick to like an account list. So let's say I'm on active accounts, but I don't want to see just my active accounts. I want to see all active accounts. I can come down here to the bottom and select a different view and say, okay, let's look at all active accounts. Maybe I want to open up Alpine Ski House, look at the open activities. I could drill into those. Maybe I want to add a new activity. Let's say I want to add a new phone call, and I can see the phone numbers right here. So maybe I want to click on the phone number, make the phone call, and then fill in the rest of this record for my phone call activity. I can just click this. It says, hey, do you want to switch apps? If I'm on my phone or something, it's going to switch over to the phone app, make the call. I'm going to close out of this because I'm not really going to make a call here. And then once that call is over, I can just fill in the information, fill in the subject, call to, what was the description, save the phone call activity, and it'll just show up here as an activity. So we've got about 5 minutes left, so I think I'm going to cut it off right there. I apologize. I was hoping to cover a few more things, but again, we're available to visit with you if you have more questions. And then, yeah, Brian, do we have any questions that have come in?
Yeah, we do, Eric. So I wanted to make sure we had a little bit of time for that. So we've got about 4 minutes here. So one of the questions, if we already have a quoting software which is native to our ERP, can we bypass the quote portion within the sales lead to opportunity cycle?
Yeah, I would say 90% of CRM customers don't do quoting inside of CRM. So I just kind of wanted to show how you can go to a quote, to an order, to an invoice, all in CRM. Most customers stop at the opportunity level, and then they're doing quoting and orders in ERP. Or you could have integration that says, I am going to put the quote in CRM, and then once it's an order, I want that order to kick over to ERP, and then they'll order it, they'll invoice it, and then the invoice could come back to CRM. So yeah, all sorts of different ways you can kind of handle that process. Yeah.
At Agile IT, we use a proposal quoting system called Quozal, which we've integrated with CRM or Dynamics 365.
Yeah.
Another question is, you showcase integration of SharePoint. Have you worked with an organization that primarily utilizes Jack Henry products, specifically Scimitar or Ellipsis?
I have not. Those are all new terms to me, so I could do some research and find out a little bit more about that, but off the top of my head, no.
Okay, so maybe that's one we can follow up with as part of the response back.
Yeah.
Another question is, Dynamics 365 pricing an add-on feature within our Office 365 subscription? And then second to that, and is support provided directly by Microsoft or partners?
So it used to be an add-on, but back going to October 31st, you could kind of add it on at a discounted price. Then they switched to Dynamics 365. Now you have to buy a Dynamics 365 SKU. There's an enterprise version, there's a small business edition. The business edition is being released in May, and so currently what they have is they have kind of these interim licenses that are, like if you just need the sales functionality, you can get those licenses for $40 per user per month for a full user and $5 per user per month for a team member. The beauty of that is it's sitting on this full enterprise platform, and you can lock into that pricing for 3 years. Coming in May, they're going to have this true business edition, and we just don't have a ton of information about that yet. It's going to be, somehow it's going to be different from what I'm showing you today, but we don't know where exactly the differences are going to be. As far as support, we're a partner, and we have support plans. We like to do everything fixed price with a money-back guarantee. We're a little bit different that way. So a lot of different options around implementation and support, and we typically like to have a conversation about what's gonna meet your needs.
Yeah, and you can buy the licensing from Quanta direct, so that's always an option as a cloud solutions provider. So and then kind of related, but what is the overall pricing structure?
Yeah, so and you brought up a good point, Brian. Like currently, this $40 SMB SKU, it's an interim SKU that's available until they release the business edition, probably in May. It's only available through CSP. What CSP means is Cloud Solution Provider. So Quanta CRM is a Tier 1 CSP. You can order the licenses directly through us at that $40 price point. Really, that's the only way to order that license. But yeah, as far as pricing, Enterprise Edition, you have a sales SKU that's $95 per user per month. You have a Plan 1 SKU that's $115 per user per month. The Plan 1 SKU includes sales, service, project services, automation, field service. It's really a very broad, robust umbrella of different things that it has. If you have under 50 users or under 25 users, you definitely want to be looking at these SMB SKUs, which are, again, kind of the interim SKU until the business edition comes out. And so that starts at $40 for a full user license, $5 for a team member license, which can view records and modify accounts and contacts. They are supposed to be releasing a sales and service SKU any day now. It's supposed to come out in February. It's going to be $65 per user per month for the full license, and I think it's still $5 per user per month for the team member license. And so that SKU would cover everything that I've shown you today, this interactive service hub, all the service stuff.
Awesome. Hey, one last question, and we're over time. So if some need to drop off, that's perfectly okay. We'll follow up with the full answers to these. But can an admin level owner control who has access to all histories around a client/quote, and also who can see the data and at what level of detail?
Yeah, good question. I would demo it, but we're out of time. It's extremely robust. So you basically assign a user to a business unit. You can also assign users to teams. You can have user-only rights, you can have team rights, you can have business unit rights, you can have full organization rights on every record type. So you can do whatever you want. If you don't want people to see records, you can set it up so they can't see records. They could just see the records that they have created, that they're the owners on. There's just a lot of flexibility with security.
Excellent. So again, want to thank everybody for attending today. Hopefully you got what you needed out of this webinar. We will follow up with an email which will have the recording along with a link to our Agile IT's Dynamics 365 page. We'll also look at addressing some of these questions and some information about the pricing. So we just want to thank you again for joining, and hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Eric.